Welcome to KMET 1490 AM ABC News Radio and the Southern California Business Report with Yvette Walker, a show dedicated to highlighting successful Southern California businesses and the people behind them.
Welcome and thank you for joining the Southern California Business Report on ABC News and Talks, KMET 1490 AM, 98.1 FM, and KMET TV. I'm Yvette Walker, live blasting our signal from the center of Southern California, serving a population of over 25 million. Get us crystal clear and on demand by downloading the free live streaming app on Google Play or the Apple App Store. As always, a huge shout out to the team, Mitch, Bill, and Sean. I love you guys. And to our special advisory committee, Bill Morris, UCI School of Business, Jose and Camila Rubio, thank you so much. Today, I am just so excited and thrilled to be introducing Matt Wilson and Maya Ivanova of Wilson Ivanova Certified Public Accountants. Matt is a founding partner of Wilson Ivanova Certified Public Accountants Incorporated and a member of the firm's Tax and Credit Oversite Committee. Since starting his career in 1995, his focus has been primarily serving privately held companies with a concentration in construction, manufacturing, and logistics by providing extensive tax planning, business mergers and acquisitions, and succession planning to businesses of all sizes. Matt is past president of the Inland Empire chapter of CalCPA, past chair and current member of the Accounting Advisory Board at California State University, San Bernardino, and a member of the California State University Dean's List Advisory Board. Matt also serves as part-time professor for California State University, San Bernardino, teaching auditing and financial reporting in the undergraduate and graduate programs. Maya is also a founding partner with Wilson Ivanova Certified Public Accountants and manages the Audit and Assurance Divisions team. Maya started her career in public accounting in 2007 with a local CPA firm. Maya has over 15 years of experience in auditing and business consulting for small to medium-sized, closely held businesses. Maya is responsible for planning and supervising financial statement audits, reviews, and compilations for clients in different industries. Also, Maya has extensive experience providing accounting and consulting services to clients in the manufacturing and construction industries, including tax planning, budgeting, and profitability analysis. Maya has been a speaker for various organizations, including Inland Empire Risk Management Association, Construction Financial Management Association, guest lecturer at California State University, San Bernardino, and Toolbox Construction Software Conference. Thank you both so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Yvette.
Thank you, Yvette, for having us. We're very excited to be here.
Oh, wonderful. It's such a treat. So let me just start with Maya. Ladies first, excuse me, Matt. But let me just get a brief history and time about you, Maya, and what led you down the path to pursue a career in certified public accounting.
So background for me, I'm born and raised in Bulgaria, a small country in Eastern Europe. My grandparents were farmers, so from early age, I started working in the fields, picking crops, feeding animals. So I kind of gained my work ethic and strong value for manual labor from early age. I moved to the United States in 2001. I was a student in a university in Bulgaria, and I came through an exchange program to the United States for 5 months and never left. I fell in love with the country, the opportunities that provided, and just the people in general were so welcoming to me. So I enrolled in a local community college, College of the Desert in Palm Desert, and I always knew I wanted to do something in business. I kind of bounced between finance and accounting. Finance for a really young individual sounds really glamorous and exciting. But the more I learned through my courses at the university and the community college, I kind of learned that finance potentially was not for me because there was a lot of gray area, a lot of room for interpretation and not concrete results. And knowing myself, I kind of felt that accounting is a more suitable career for me just because it's more on the black and white side. Still, there's creativity to be had within the law, whether it's the tax code or generally accepted accounting principles. So I stuck with accounting. In my junior year in college, I was hired by a local accounting firm. They're also here in San Bernardino, Rogers, Anderson, Melody, and Scott. They kind of helped me stay in the United States. They sponsored me with my green card, so I will be eternally grateful for that. That's where I met Matt Wilson as well. He was a young partner at the time, and he specialized in construction and manufacturing. So we worked alongside on a lot of clients in those industries. I fell in love with the accounting for construction and manufacturing. I really enjoyed getting to know the clients. I loved how challenging the work was. And fast forward to 2014, we started our own accounting firm.
That's remarkable. Matt, give us a brief history in, your career pathway to pursue becoming now a partner and a CPA at Wilson Ivanova.
Well, similar to Maya, I grew up with grandparents that had a farm, learned a lot of work ethic, both working with them and also with my parents. Grew up in Highland, had a small orange grove, had a Christmas tree farm, spent a lot of time. And so early on, my parents instilled the thought of, hey, if you've got oranges and you pick them and you sell them, you've created a small business. And so from a very early age, I learned about business. I learned about money. Fast forward to graduating high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I went to work for a chain of hardware store, a lumber yard, a family-owned company. And from there, I was able to move into management at a very early age and learned from those people, start to finish, how business works. And recession came along in the end of the 80s, and I decided to go back to college, not knowing really what I wanted to do. And I went to Craft and Nails College, again, a community college, much like Maya. Started at a community college. Great education. And there I had a professor that was actually the controller for the County of Orange. And she was so passionate and excited about the accounting profession and shared real world stories with us that was really where I decided at that point, that's what I wanted to do. She taught us, this is what the book says, but this is how it really happens in real life. And to me, that was just so exciting to hear the things that she did, the people she worked with, how they made business decisions. I realized early on that this is where I wanted to be. And here we are a few years later, a few less hairs later, and partner at a CPA firm, loving every bit of what I do, working with clients, working with our staff, and just working here in the Inland Empire.
I love it. I love that story. Both of them are very similar, and that's just remarkable, which I'm sure is a testament to how well you work together and how quickly you were able to build this firm. So let's talk a little bit about what brought you to the decision to actually start and establish your own firm to begin with. Let's start with you, Matt.
Well, when we were working, we both worked at the other firm again, Rogers, Anderson, Melody, and Scott here in San Bernardino. It's a good firm, good sized firm. They have at the time about 40 or 45 people. But they did a lot of government work. They did a lot of nonprofit work. They did a lot of things that were not in my comfort zone, right? Because I learned early on, you can't be good at everything. You can't be a generalist. You have to be a specialist to be really good at it. And so again, Maya as well kind of latched on to the helping small businesses, working with them every day, every week, every month. Really enjoyed that aspect of it. And there just came a point in time where we realized that being in that environment, as good as that firm was, we weren't able to service the clients the way we wanted to service them. And what I mean by that is we just don't want to do a tax return for a client. We want to be in their office every quarter. We want them to call us up when they're making financial decisions. We just want to go out to lunch with them sometimes and ask them how they're doing and help them make good business decisions. And by starting our firm back in 2014, it gave us the ability to do that. We could say we're only going to work with certain industries. We're only going to work with certain types of customers, family-owned, privately held businesses, and we're really going to build our team around that philosophy and that thought that our clients are the most important thing that we have outside of our staff. We need to treat them like their family, and I think that's really what we've instilled on both our staff and ourselves, and we feel our clients feel that as well. So that was really how we got this started.
Beautiful. So Maya, please share a little bit about what was going through your mind when you were looking at the prospect of starting a new accounting firm, relatively new to the country, right? But spearheading a whole new business. Please talk a little bit about that and share what your thoughts were at the time.
It's very few people that can go back and say that they've started their own CPA firm. There's a lot of people that become partners along the way. And I don't think either of us realized the challenges that we're going to endure along the way. It was scary altogether. One, you're separating employment with people that you care about. You're parting ways with staff that you've developed relationships. So that was on one hand. The other hand was just the general business aspect of renting a space, delivering computers. Who knew that connecting the phone lines will be the biggest challenge on the technology side in 2014? We asked 4 of our staff to join the team, and they were very happy. One of them actually called me one night and said, "Are you guys actually going to be able to pay our salaries?" And at that time, I thought that is a legitimate concern. Maybe they think we want them to just work on commission. We didn't know if the clients will follow us. And I think that was the biggest challenge that we had. We had the staff lined up. The 2 of us were ready to go. We had good connections within the community. Our bank landed us the money to start the business, but we didn't know what the clients will do. And at that point, when we left and they realized that we're no longer there, I think as soon as they figured out that we have left, the phones started ringing, all of our cell phones, all the relationships that we have been building throughout the years started to blossom. There was no question in anybody's mind that they're coming along with us. They didn't have a relationship with anybody at the other firm just because they didn't specialize in what our clients specialized in. And the first thing they asked is, where do we sign up and what's the process going to be to transition from the old firm to the new firm? So we were able to capture a lot of our client base and along the way continue to grow, but definitely it was really scary. It was months. The first tax season was probably the most difficult. We were rebuilding files, and but again, we had great people around us. We had community support from all of our business partners, whether we're other CPAs, bankers, surety, bonding. Everybody was on our side, cheering us on and helping in any way, anyhow they could.
I love that. And, those are the best questions to be asked when you're going through an effort like that, right? Is where do I sign and how do we get this ball moving, right? How can we support you? Which are, it's an amazing testament to the relationship that you had developed with your clients and why it was important and why your philosophy to specialize in a specific area has been so successful. So please talk a little bit more about your primary clientele base and the specific areas that you do specialize in, Matt.
Well, we've focused our business mainly in construction, manufacturing, and logistics. And again, they kind of go together. People are like, well, you do construction and manufacturing. At the end of the day, the philosophy and the accounting process is the same. You're building something, whether it's a road or a building or a pipeline or a widget. You're doing exactly the same thing. And so because we spend so much time in those realms, we've become really good at understanding what the client's going through to help them make good decisions. And what I mean by that is it's not just the accounting process, but it's how's the relationship with their bonding company? How's the relationship with their bank? If we can foreshadow or foresee what the bank's going to ask them based on their financial statements, we can help them get ready with solutions or answers. Again, our clients and the relationships that they have with us, we also try and build that in with these other partners out there in the field. And again, that's something that we do really well, that we're really excited to do with clients. And when we bring on a new client, a lot of times that new client is a referral from an existing bank or a surety or a bonding company. But we also then introduce them to our other partners if we see that there's opportunities there as well. So, we have a couple of clients that it's the same 4 or 5 people that work on that account from all the different industries that they work in, their bank, their insurance, their bonding company, and so on, and us as the accountants. And if we build that relationship amongst those clients, we get really good at being able to give them really good advice.
Right. And imagine that, right? Being there as a resource for your clients to be successful, to not only sustain the level of activity or growth that they're, on the path to, but to elevate that and to grow them and to have that security. And it's a sustainable model across the board, right? It's a win-win for everybody. And I can see that being something unique and different from other CPA firms in the area. Maya, please share a little bit about what other elements about Wilson Ivanova are different from surrounding CPA firms in your area.
So the biggest thing that I think sets us apart is the model that we've developed, and we had decided to build the firm based on a corporate structure as opposed to book of business structure. And I think a lot of CPAs, you have partners and they have their client base, and they take care only of that group of clients. We have started a full circle of each client is treated as a corporate client, and we involve different partners depending on what the client needs are. So, for example, for taxation, if it's a higher level tax, we will involve Matt. If it's accounting and auditing, I will look at every single financial statement that goes out the door to make sure it's compliant and it's in the best presentation possible. If there's some other issues, we have a partner that specializes in valuation, consulting, controller, and CFO services. We're going to invite him in if there's an opportunity or a need at the client. So I think that really sets us apart. On top of that, I think we've developed a really nice culture internally with our staff. A lot of our staff are long-standing staff of the firm. We try to be ahead of the game. We know that the market for staff is really, really tough right now, and that's nationwide, so we're no different. We're competing for a lot of the same people, but we try to make them happy in many different ways. We want them to show up to work excited to see their coworkers, and I've heard them say along the way something in the tune of, it's really nice to go to work when I get to work with my friends. And they like each other not only in the office, but they like each other outside of the office. So having that team environment, I know we work really hard. We spend long hours in tax season and sometimes out of tax season, but having that positive attitude everywhere, top to bottom in the firm, really, really helps drive the organization and kind of sustain that nice model. And I think those are the key things that kind of keep us apart from everybody else.
Oh, that's beautiful. There's nothing better than, going to work and saying, gosh, I'm going to go work with my friends, right? It's a great environment. It's welcoming. It's a team effort. And when you're able to move forward in that way, I can see, the very positive outcomes that you're able to provide your clients, right? Everyone's happy. Everyone's doing the best that they can and showing those wonderful results for those clients. So, Matt, please talk a little bit about what and how important the connection is to the Inland Empire. And for those that, are kind of new to the Inland Empire is basically consists of San Bernardino County, which happens to be the largest county in the United States, as well as Riverside County. So, please talk a little bit about how important that connection is for your firm here today, Matt.
Well, for me personally, it's very important. Having grown up in this area, again, raised in Highland, went to public school in San Bernardino, went to college in San Bernardino. I really like the area. A lot of people, they go to college and then they want to move out of the area. They want to go to New York. They want to go to Chicago. They want to go to places where it snows and it's not 75 on Christmas Day, right? But again, we could have put our firm anywhere, especially today with the ability of mobility, right? With the ability to work from home or work from Starbucks or wherever. We chose to stay in San Bernardino, stay grounded in San Bernardino so that we can service the Inland Empire. And the reason why that's so important for me is not only did I grow up here, but I've seen the area change over the years. Not necessarily always for the better, but I think that if people stay and work in the area that they're familiar with, and they support the businesses in that area, maybe we'll see a little revitalization. We've seen it in other areas locally and across the country. I look for the day where businesses in San Bernardino are thought of to go work for first and not second or third because of the location. There's these dividing lines, right, between Orange County and Riverside and San Bernardino. But over the last couple of years, with the help of Amazon and some of the other business that have moved out this way, we're getting some of that business revitalization in our area, which is good to see. We're seeing more jobs available. We're seeing better infrastructure because these big companies are coming in and supporting it. This is what this area needs to continue to thrive. And, working with Cal State San Bernardino, and seeing those students go to school there, graduate there, a lot of them are first, second generation graduates. They want the jobs. They're hungry. They're eager. It's exciting to hire those students and give them opportunities. Opportunities that, sure, they could have gone to LA and gotten the same opportunity, but I think we do a better job at fostering that. And that's one thing that Maya brought up was when we started this firm, we had an amazing group of people that stepped out, not knowing if they were going to get a paycheck, to join us, right? Well, still to this day, we continue to grow in this environment where everybody's worried business is slowing down and recession is coming. We're looking to hire 2 or 3 more people this year. We're looking to go to the community college in Riverside. They have a bookkeeping program. We want to latch onto their bookkeeping program and hire people that are graduating from their bookkeeping program. We want to hire graduates from Cal State San Bernardino, and we want to continue to grow our staff base, because without staff, we can't support our clients. And give you an idea, we started the firm with 6 people 8 years ago. We're sitting at about 22 right now. We're looking at a couple more, but still our average age in the firm is under 40. So we have a lot of young people, and a lot of those young people have been with us for 4, 5, 6, 8 years, a couple from the very start. Actually, 1 from the very start and 2 more that started 3 months after we started the firm, and they're still with us. So that's a testament, I think, to our staff and their commitment to the area.
Absolutely. And so, you mentioned the big companies, the Amazons, and I want to also bring to light the recent investment by BNSF in Barstow for the big project, right? The Barstow International Gateway. And that is a testament to the opportunities that exist here in the Inland Empire and what others, on a global scale are seeing in terms of the potential and opportunities that exist here in our region, which is remarkable. In addition to that, you mentioned 75 degrees at Christmas time, right? And we're basically an hour from everything, hour from maybe closer to the mountains, 30 minutes to the mountains, hour to the beach, hour to the desert, hour to metropolitan LA or Orange County. I mean, you basically have the best of everything from a decent distance, and you have an amazing quality of life here in our region. Is something that I've experienced and really appreciate. Maya, you spoke earlier a little bit about some of those opportunities that you have identified to recruit, new employees. Please talk a little bit about where you recruit from. Very briefly, we're going to come on a break, but just start on that point, and then we'll hit it again when we come back.
Great question. So the primary source of candidates that we pull from is Cal State San Bernardino, which is our local university. They've had the best accounting program by far, and they prepare their students the best out of all the colleges in the area. We're very involved with Cal State San Bernardino. Matt teaches at Cal State San Bernardino, so sometimes he's able to firsthand pick the best candidates for the position. But we're really involved with their bed office side. We try to speak as much as we can, influence the new and upcoming accounting students, just to kind of prepare them what to expect in the accounting career. It's not as easy for them to foresee busy season and tax season and the long hours that we work. So we try to mentor them along the way when they're in their sophomore, junior, and then senior year. We also have an internship program when we hire them much early, and they stay with us through graduation, and hopefully they stay after graduation, just so they can get their feet wet and kind of connect the dots between academics and real world. I think it helps them develop as individuals as well. So yeah, definitely Cal State. And as Matt mentioned earlier, we're very interested in Riverside Community College because they have a really good bookkeeping program, which I think will kind of complement what we do for some of our clients.
Beautiful. So for those listening, I'm Yvette Walker on Southern California Business Report on ABC News and Talks, KMAT 1490 AM, 98.1 FM, and KMAT TV, talking with Matthew Wilson and Maya Ivanova of Wilson Ivanova Certified Public Accountants Incorporated, sharing their story of building a thriving business in the heart of San Bernardino County, with Maya starting as a recently immigrated student to the U.S., offering tips on how to prepare for a prosperous 2023 when we return.
Hi, I'm San Bernardino County Sheriff Shannon Dykes. If you're looking to start an exciting career in law enforcement and make a difference in your community, we are hiring dispatchers, nurses, deputies, laterals, and many more. For a complete list of our jobs and more information, visit sheriffsjobs.com.
Ontario International Airport is onto a better way to fly with over 65 daily non-stop flights to more than 20 major destinations and the easiest airport experience in Southern California. Visit flyonto.com/Ontario to learn more about Ontario International Airport today.
Hi, Ray Lance from the Diamond Center in the Claremont Village here. One of the coolest parts of a third-generation family business is getting to know the families we serve through generations. Once you experience our friendly service, our fair and transparent pricing, and our beautiful jewelry that we make to last a lifetime, you'll stick with us too. Come visit us in the Claremont Village or at Lantz, L-A-N-T-Z, diamondcenter.com and see what makes us different.
Every 2 seconds, someone needs a blood transfusion. Be on the giving side. Livestream Blood Bank supports patients in 80 Southern California hospitals. Call 1-800-TRY-GIVING for more information and to set an appointment.
The University of La Verne is rated first in California for alumni satisfaction. Learn more about accelerated programs offered online and on campus in La Verne, Irvine, Ontario, Burbank, or College of the Canyons. Visit go.laverne.edu. The University of La Verne. go.laverne.edu.
City of Hope is driven to making a difference in the lives of people with cancer and diabetes. We accomplish this by conducting innovative research and providing outstanding care. If you or a loved one has received a cancer diagnosis, go to cityofhope.org to learn more about how our innovative approach could change your outcome.
Cal State San Bernardino is home to the only School of Entrepreneurship in California. With globally ranked degree programs, you can start your journey today to become a successful entrepreneur. Learn more and connect at entre.csusb.edu.
Welcome back. For those listening, I'm Yvette Walker on Southern California Business Report on ABC News and Talks, KMAT 1490 AM, 98.1 FM, and KMAT TV, talking with Matthew Wilson and Maya Ivanova of Wilson Ivanova Certified Public Accountants Incorporated, sharing their story of building a thriving business in the heart of San Bernardino County, with Maya starting as a recently immigrated student to the U.S., offering tips on how to prepare for a prosperous 2023. Thank you both so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Beautiful. All right. So before the break, Maya, you were sharing a little bit about, where it was that you recruited from and why you selected those areas of recruitment.
Yes. Again, Cal State San Bernardino, just to recap, and just if you know the makeup of the area, a lot of the students at Cal State San Bernardino are working students, night students. A lot of them are first generation graduates from college. And I really take a lot of pride in employing a lot of those. They're really hardworking. Some of them are children of first generation immigrants. So they kind of have the same story like me, they still carry the same work ethic as some of the older generations. So we've enjoyed recruiting and capturing some of that talent along the way.
I love it. So, of course, building and establishing a thriving CPA firm requires, those stakeholders, those partners, those entities that you work alongside, to be strong and to make sure you're on the cutting edge of everything that you need to be in order to best serve your clients. Matt, can you please talk a little bit about the different connections you have within that community?
So there are two different groups that we work with. Obviously, there are those relationships that we have with our clients, like we talked about with the bankers. The bankers are critical to us, and we've got some fantastic bankers in the Inland Empire that have been friends of the firm for years from different entities or organizations. And then because we work in construction, we work with the bonding companies and the insurance agents that are so important as well. Again, that communication that we have with those outside parties that work with the same clients, it's extremely important so that we can help the client get to where they need to be, or be able to help them to assist the bankers or the bonding companies or the insurance agents or even their attorneys with what it is that they're working on or trying to do. We also have our affiliates like CalCPA and the AICPA. CalCPA is our statewide organization, California Certified Public Accountants. And within that organization, both Maya and I are past presidents of the local chapter. We've been on several state committees, and Maya has also done a tenure on the board at the state level. And why that is important to us is because those relationships that we build with those other CPA firms like ours is so important. If we have a client that needs something that is outside of our realm, we know that we can find somebody to help them with it, whether it's foreign reporting requirements that we don't work with, or maybe it's a nonprofit that we don't work with, that we don't do that type of work. We can find them a relationship, and they're going to do the same with us. So building those cross relationships is extremely important. And then we also are involved with the AICPA, the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. And why that's important, being the nationwide and worldwide entity for CPAs, is because that also helps provide us our continuing education so that we can stay aware of the constantly changing tax laws and audit and accounting rules that seem like they're coming constantly, especially the last 3 years. Since COVID started, we've had so many changes in requirements for taxes and financial statement reporting that without an association like AICPA and CalCPA to support us, we can't keep up and make sure that our clients are current in what their reporting requirements are.
Right. So please talk a little bit about what some of the biggest challenges have been for you to overcome as you have established and started to now grow this wonderful firm, Maya.
I think the ever-changing regulatory environment is, aside from recruiting talent, probably the biggest challenge that we endure. I think the pandemic accelerated some of those things as well. I mean, the past 2.5 years have been a constant change. The state of California has been no help. If anything, they have been even more slow to pass guidance. We've had to hold so many different tax returns past the deadline just because we don't know what the reporting requirements are. And that's happened 2 tax seasons in a row. So definitely keeping up with all the changes. And we kind of divided up the talent within the firm to make sure we're staying in different fronts along the pandemic, whether it's state and local taxes, federal taxes. Then we had regulations for a paycheck protection program and employee retention credit. So we kind of divvied up amongst the top to make sure that everybody is keeping up to the T on every single issue, so we can advise our clients in making sure that they're not only compliant, but we're ahead of the game on being proactive with some of the credits that have come up, for example, or reporting requirements for state and local taxes or federal taxes. So it's been definitely really, really challenging. Again, I'm really grateful for all the people that work here, because sometimes I'll get down and, kind of lose my temper, but they are so positive, always have the "we can do this" attitude. And so far we've coming ahead of the game.
I love it. So, Matt, you mentioned that you do teach, the topic of accounting. Please talk about how you make the subject fun and engaging as you're instilling these accounting principles into the next generation, Gen Z, I guess it is. And please also talk a little bit about your community service and how you engage in the community today.
So making accounting fun is kind of an oxymoron, isn't it? Right? I mean, I think it's fun. I happen to like it. I think when working with, very post high school undergraduates, what are you, 19, 20 years old, your eyes are wide open, you don't know what the opportunities are. If you just teach from the book, it's going to be boring. It's not going to be exciting. I think that I can bring into the education system case studies and personal experiences. And we spend a lot of time talking about fraud. And we spend a lot of time, talking about how the rules are changing and how it impacts and what it is we do. Because, a lot of people, they have this misconception, well, what does it take to be a good accountant? Well, you got to be good at math. That's not what it is. To be a good accountant, you have to have common sense. I can take somebody that's an okay accountant and really good common sense and teach them business and teach them what to look for and make them an expert in their field. But if you don't have common sense, then, I can't teach that. So that's what we look for. And we find those people by sharing our stories and getting them interested in the case studies and thinking about all the frauds happening and asking them, do you read the Wall Street Journal? Do you read the newspaper? Where do you get your news from? That's always a big question. And that's what makes it exciting. But we also, within our firm, we instill not only a good work ethic, but we also instill community service. You asked about our community service within our firm. To us, it's extremely important that we also support the community, those that may need more support than we do. And so within our firm, we actually have a minimum amount of hours that we ask our staff to do in volunteering every single year. And so we give them those opportunities both at work and outside of work. We're very involved in 4 different organizations at a minimum, right? There's a lot of them out there we support, but Friends of Santa Claus in San Bernardino has been around since the 40s. It started out as a way to provide gifts for children that their parents didn't have the means to provide gifts at Christmas. A very simple concept. When we started working with this charity, probably 11 years ago, they said that, they served 8,000 children or 9,000 children that year. And that broke my heart. Last year, I think they said at distribution, they were looking for 18,000 children that the parents would come through there. And so we always help them. We help the Assistance League of San Bernardino, another great charity that supports the children of the Inland Empire, not just San Bernardino, but the Inland Empire. Maya is on the board of Project Boone in Rancho Cucamonga, where they help to feed those at Thanksgiving and do some other fundraising, backpacks for the children at school and things like that, another area of need. And then one of our other partners, Mark Rivera, he's on the board of the Rancho Cucamonga Community Arts Foundation. And so we're broken up across the entire Inland Empire with multiple people sitting on multiple boards, and our staff really get into it and enjoy going and helping. So that's part of our culture, and that's key to what we feel is important. It's not always about the billable hour. It's really about what can we give back to our clients and give back to our community.
I love that. I love every time that I run into a business that has that social conscious and has that social connection and that relationship to give back and to integrate into their community. In fact, Dr. Keenan Alderson was talking about just exactly that point of why, locally owned businesses or family owned businesses are unique in that sense, in the sense that they're more adept to giving back and engaging in their communities because that's where they're from, right? So when you're from there, you tend to be more invested in your, community at large. So Maya, can you please talk a little bit about, who you work with outside of the CPA profession and why they're so important to you and your clients as you serve them?
So going back to what we said, knowing what kind of companies you service and what kind of niche industries you're going to pick. So when we look for outside partners, we look for partners that specialize in the same key industries that we do. So when we meet new clients, we want to make sure, along with our services, we're covering other basics that are important and will be important to them, although they may not know it. But for example, banking is a perfect example. People have been, flooded with cash over the past few years. I don't think things are going to look as bright in the future, and some of them are feeling it. So having somebody that understands the construction industry, for example, is your banker, and it's somebody local from a community bank or a local business bank, that it's a person that you will talk to, you'll go to lunch with, that you're going to develop a relationship that it will stand in your corner when you need the financing and you need the help. So that's on the banking side. Then we work on the construction side with a lot of bonding agents to make sure they understand our clients, that they can continue to bond projects. We have that open communication with them. So usually when we have a concluding meeting on an engagement, it will be ideal if it's the banker, the bonding company, and especially when things are not looking so bright, having those conversations with all the parties really helps the client maintain their line of credit, maintain their bonding company capacity so they can continue to execute project and finance their projects. So we develop those relationships. We refer business back and forth where we feel there's a fit for this particular individual. They refer a lot of business to us because we have developed a reputation. For example, in the construction industry, we know what we do, we're good at it, and the clients do value the services that we provide. So we surround ourselves with good people that are experts in each industry, attorneys being another one. A lot of our clients might need some legal help along the way. Usually labor laws are the hottest topic of all discussions. So we try to find good labor attorneys that specialize in construction and will be able to service our clients.
Wow, it makes sense. And I love that you are not only building an accounting team around your clients, but a full service team, right? Bankers, bonding companies, insurance companies, attorneys. So, having the full team there checking every element of their business structure and ensuring that every decision and every movement forward is the best one possible, right? And that's only possible through having those resources and having access to them and applying it as you move forward.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about what we can expect to see in 2023, Matt. Let's talk about some of the hottest tax topic issues today.
Here's the hottest one that came off the press less than 3 hours ago. In California, because we've had so much rain in these last couple of storms, the IRS has now postponed all due dates for all federal returns until May 15th of 2023, including business returns that were due on March 15th and individual returns that were due on April 18th. So we all just got an automatic 30 or 60-day extension on the filing due date of our return. In addition to that, those fourth quarter estimated tax payments that were due next week on January 15th are now not due until May 15th as well. And this just came across less than 3 hours ago.
And this was due to what again, please?
The storms in California.
Oh my goodness. Wow,
Yes,
thank you, storms.
Well, we're not happy about it because it just extended our tax season deadlines, right? We're still going to work with our clients to try and get them filed under the original deadlines. But again, for some people, this will be welcome to them because it does give them a little bit extra time to file their returns. It does give them a little bit extra time to pay their quarterly estimates. And it's funny, we really try and stay on top of all of the changes, especially over the last couple of years with the IRS, with the Franchise Tax Board. Right now in our office, we have a meeting of a group of people from CalCPA, and they hadn't even heard about this yet. We found out about it, and we were able to share that information with all of our partners in CalCPA at the meeting right after it happened. And so now we're all aware of these rules where a lot of people may not be aware of them yet. So that's the latest and the greatest, depending on how you look at it. It means that our vacations just got extended another 30 days out. But,
sorry, guys.
good for everybody else. from a tax law standpoint, there's not nearly as much to talk about this year. There's more A&A. I'll let Maya kind of go into the A&A, the audit and accounting changes. But for the first time in a couple of years, we don't have a huge amount of changes. If you remember back when COVID started, the amount of tax changes that came through both the IRS and the Franchise Tax Board, it was nonstop. We were changing deadlines. We were changing what was taxable and what wasn't taxable, and payment plans and things like that. Well, that's kind of settled down, except for what I just said. So we're happy that there won't be a lot of changes, and there probably won't be a lot of changes going forward. You've heard in the news that the Build Back Better Act and the Inflation Reduction Acts that were signed by President Biden had wide-changing tax reform, but not really for our client base. Those wide-changing tax reforms are for companies that have income greater than $1 billion with a B. So, that's just outside of most of our client base. So we don't have to worry too much about that. But yeah, for most small businesses, we won't see a huge amount of changes this year at all. So we're excited.
Wonderful. So Maya, talk a little bit about the current lease accounting standards and whether or not there will be any changes for 2023.
So the change technically took in effect January 1st of 2022 for calendar year entities. We're implementing it for a lot of them because we're just preparing their year-end financial statements or gearing up to prepare. It's been a standard that has been in the works for probably a decade, and it got pushed forward due to the pandemic, and just people were not prepared. Publicly traded companies have already implemented it. The standard highlight, I'm not going to put all your audience to sleep, but it's bringing a lot of transparency to companies' balance sheets. And there was a great need for that to be done on the publicly traded companies because there's a lot of investors that were not properly interpreting obligations of entities. For our clients, I don't see a lot of benefit to it, but in order for them to have GAAP financial statements, which is generally accepted accounting principles, they must conform to that standard. In essence, what it does is it takes all their operating leases, which are for buildings primarily, it puts all of them on the balance sheet. The company doesn't own the building or whatever the leased asset is, but now you take the full value of that lease and the future minimum lease obligations, and you put it on the balance sheet as a right of use asset and as a liability. So due to that, people's balance sheets or companies' balance sheets are being elevated to a new level. We've been talking to the banking groups to make sure they're prepared because their financial ratios will change. I'm hoping everybody is prepared at this point to roll out the standards. For some of our clients, we've been able to negotiate for the banks and the bonding companies to accept a GAAP exception on the financial statements. We're finding out that a lot of the end users of our financial statements are taking what we did, undoing it, to be able to interpret it in an old version of GAAP reporting. So we're having those conversations early on to make sure that, again, we're servicing the end user of the financial statement best.
Wow, that is a lot to take in. But Nat, please talk a little bit about current bank financing with the rising interest rates as we see it.
So, we've all heard that the rates keep rising, right? It has put a lot of people in fear of what that's going to do to their business or what that's going to do to the economy. And, for right reasons, if you hear that the interest rates are going up again, the cost to borrow money has gone up dramatically. Luckily for us, most of our clients don't use their lines of credit, and their financing is mainly for equipment and expanding their fleet. But it does put a damper a little bit on how people look at the future of the economy. Now, with that said, because we meet with our clients on a regular basis, we're constantly asking them, what's your backlog? What's your backlog? What's your backlog? Have we seen the backlog slip? Are we predicting that it's going to slow down? Here in the Inland Empire, again, I don't care what's happening on the East Coast. Maybe I should, but that's not my primary focus. I'm worried about the Inland Empire. And when we work with our contractors or our manufacturers and they tell us their backlog is still strong, that gives us comfort to know that, okay, we may slow down a little bit, but they're going to remain strong. We also have a few key indicators. We work with some architects. We're working with the underground pipeline guys. These are the people that are on the job first. They're really the pulse of what's happening in the Inland Empire, because our economy is a lot driven by construction, right? And so if they're busy, everybody else is going to be busy as well. And so we like to keep that in a reality check. But on the flip side, because interest rates are going up and because our clients are having to update their lines of credit, we are having, again, those conversations with the client and the banker to talk about, if you don't need your line of credit, maybe you don't need as much credit, if you're worried about the interest rates going up, or maybe the bankers, are watching and making sure that the clients are maintaining their balance sheet. Is their balance sheet so strong? So again, that's a communication we can have with our clients and the banks to say, interest rates going up, you better preserve your balance sheet and keep your balance sheet strong so that you don't have any issues with your bank. Because again, if you're with a big bank, they don't understand your business, and they love to loan you money when you don't need it, and at the second you need it, they pull back, right? But again, like Maya said, we work with our community banks here, and we have that relationship, and if the banker really understands the client's business and we all have those communications, then the banks can help negotiate or work through those issues so that they can maintain those lines of credit. So even though interest rates are rising and there is some fear, some slowdown out there, our strong businesses are still really strong. And those businesses that are having trouble, they were having trouble before the pandemic. And so, they continue to struggle. And so for the most part, we're not seeing a huge blip.
Wonderful. Okay, briefly, Maya, can you tell us a little bit about those tax breaks that are going to sunset in 2026?
Actually, I'm going to let Matt speak to that.
Okay.
Briefly, please. We're on the outro.
Briefly, you got it. So in 2018, Trump passed the largest tax reform bill that we'd seen since the Tax Reform Act of 1986. The problem with a lot of those provisions is that they do sunset in 2026. The biggest ones that we're looking at is we're going to see some of the bonus depreciation for businesses go away. We're going to see the lifetime exclusion for estates come back down from its current level of like 12.9 million down to an adjusted $6 million level. So there are some things coming up. All I can recommend is talk to your accountant early, start having those conversations now. If you need to make adjustments to your estate planning, now is the time to do it. Do not wait.
Perfect.
And make sure that you're ready for those changes, because 2026 is not that far away.
It comes a lot sooner than we know, including the end of the program. So thank you both so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
we
much
appreciate
for having
it.
us.
All right, wonderful. Everybody listening, don't miss my coverage of the 134th annual Pasadena Rose Parade with my friend Jose Vargas Ulloa, the Latino cyber guy. Also, if you're looking for something fun to do on January 17th at 6:05 at Toyota Arena in Ontario, don't miss the Empire Strikers, our professional indoor soccer team at the Toyota. They'll be kicking off at 6:05 p.m. Look for us on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Check us out on scbrtalk.com. And don't forget to download the free live streaming app on Google App or the Apple App Store. Don't miss my interview with Captain Colin Sheehy. He is an Explorer Advisor for San Bernardino County Fire Department, who is currently assigned to downtown at Station 161 in Upland, California. Next week, we will have Fiona Ma. She is California's 34th state treasurer. She was elected just recently, more than any other candidate for treasurer in our state's history. She is the first woman of color and the first woman certified public accountant elected to the position. So everybody, do not miss it. We will see you all here next week.